Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. Jack and Dave here to give our reactions to the different predictions that have been sent in to us ahead of what is the biggest game of the season. Eintracht Frankfurt are coming to London, and we have to give them a spanking of some kind, or at least get a convincing win so that we can go over to their place with that confidence that we can see out this tie. It's a European quarterfinal. We have to get up for this one. I think everybody needs to just put aside their frustrations, put aside any sort of stresses they may have in and around the football club, and let's try to get behind the team this Thursday evening. Looking forward to it. Please join us, everybody, for the watch along, pre-match build-up, all that good stuff. It's one of the biggest ones of the season. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see what our fellow Spurs fans have to say. Let's see what our fellow Spurs content creators have to say ahead of this one. Are we going to be getting lots of win predictions, or are people still feeling pretty nervous? Let's see and find out. And we're getting started off with Lee the Dorset Spur. He sent this one nice and early.
Hey Dave, hey Jack, Lee the Dorset Spur here, back with my prediction for the Europa League game on Thursday versus Eintracht Frankfurt. Okay, so beating Southampton wasn't a great achievement, I get that. The performance wasn't the best that I've seen from us, but I did see glimpses of how we can play and what we can do that hurts other teams. Certainly, our first goal was clinical and really well worked, and something that we should be doing far more often. If we can get a bit more press about us, we can put a bit more pressure on the ball and try and turn it over a little bit more. Then maybe we get a bit more success at that rate. But listen, this is the biggest game of the season now. If we don't win this game, then it's pretty much over because going to Frankfurt's going to be difficult. So listen, I'm going to go for a cautious 2-1 win, which is going to make it really edgy over there. But you can only win one game at a time, and that's what I'm expecting: a 2-1 win to Tottenham on Thursday. Up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs. Big up to Lee the Dorset Spur. I'll take a 2-1 win. I'll take a win of any kind, but I do feel like, Dave, we want maybe a 2-goal margin to go to Frankfurt with. Maybe learn from our lesson against Liverpool of not taking some of those chances. Pedro Porro, I remember, had a big one that could have given us that 2-goal cushion, and perhaps that tie would have ended up being different. If we went into Anfield with that 2-goal margin.
Yeah, I just think if you've got that extra, if you've got that 2-goal cushion, Jack, you're a bit more comfortable in what you're trying to do rather than be as nervous if you're going in there with a 1-goal. Because as you know, a 1-goal cushion could be wiped out at any moment. And when you're away from home, it's even harder to regain your composure in that moment and try and push on to get what you need. So I do agree with you and Lee there. I do think we need to get it done in the first leg, but I would like the clean sheet. Look, it's not going to be easy. They are going to cause a massive threat in behind. Vicario is going to be a lot busier than what he was on the weekend. But I do agree with you. I think we need that 2-goal cushion. They turned Ajax easy out there, turned them over very easy out there, and their atmosphere is rocking. All them components will affect us. Combined with our European away record, it's atrocious. We have to go with a good cushion.
Well, thank you for that prediction, Lee. Let's hope for maybe a 2-0 instead of the 2-1. With Dave's mention of a clean sheet, didn't even think about that. Clean sheets only happen so often of recent, but let's see if we can get one tomorrow night. Now let's go over now to Kate and Jimbo from Kate and Jimbo's channel, see what they have to say. We're getting 2 for the price of 1 here with these 2.
Big up, Dave and Jack. It's Kate and Jimbo from
Kate and Jimbo.
Correct. And we are here to give our score prediction for Tottenham Hotspur versus Frankfurt on Thursday night, which is arguably the biggest game of the season and Angie's most important game in his Tottenham career. Jimbo, how are you feeling about the game on Thursday?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Going to kick their backside. I need a shave, don't I? Look.
You do need a shave. You look very scruffy. Obviously, coming off a great win against the poor Southampton side, but you know what? You can only beat who's in front of you. Big up to my man, Brennan Johnson. Still getting loads of criticism, but he scored 2 goals. And arguably should have had the hat-trick if it wasn't for Matthias Tell. Right?
Yeah, and I saw Ben and Sim today, and Ben said that he scored more goals this season than Genova did in his whole career at Tottenham.
So, not that we're comparing Ginola to Brennan Johnson, because, let's face it, David Ginola...
Well, I'm comparing his goals.
Yeah, but he was worth it. He was very worth it. But anyway, on to Thursday before we take up all the time. What do you think the score is going to be, Jimbo?
I think we're going to give them a good old smashing at Spurs. And I think we're going to do I'm going to predict a clean sheet, and I think we're smashing 3-0
Oh,
and
yes.
go there
Well,
with a good win.
what I will say is that Frankfurt have got one of the best defences in the German league, so I'm not going for a 3-0. I am going to go for a 2-1 Tottenham victory and just hope that we can keep hopefully keep a clean sheet at their place and just nick it 1-0. That'll do. But either way, we've got to win. We've got to get a lead going into the second leg and gain something from this abysmal season.
And just remember, right, this is very, very rare. Kate predicted a win.
Again. And as always, guys,
Come on, you Spurs!
Thanks, Kate and Jimbo. Hey, listen, it's all right going scruffy into a Europa League tie. You want to look mean, you want to look tough, so no reason to shave. I think before this one, unless you want to look your European best for a quarterfinal. I think either works. A 2-1 prediction, which is the same as Lee's, and then we also had a 3-0 prediction. Me being a happy clapper, I'm going to be channeling all my happy clapper juices for tomorrow, so I will be shameless, and I probably will be predicting something like that for tomorrow as well, regardless of how tight that Eintracht Frankfurt defense might be. Dave, anything to add to their predictions there?
Oh, look, I think, I'd much prefer a 3-0. I think a 3-0, you'd probably be very comfortable that you're in a semi-final and then you're just waiting the outcome of Bodo, Glimt and Lazio. But look, I think the one consensus from what we're listening to so far is that people realise it's not going to be easy. They've got a good young team. They've got some very good young players in that team. We say we're young. They're much younger than what we are. And I think, they've got the most players that have scored goals under the age of 21 or 23 in this competition. Shows how young they are, but how much of a threat they are. So we have to snuff that out at home.
Yeah, 100%. And Dave, just quickly, are you going to be shaving for tomorrow's match, or are you going to stay scruffy before the European quarterfinal?
No, I'll have a beard until the day I die.
Okay, good man. All right, let's see what Dermatron then has to say after this one, and wonder if he'll go now down that 3-0 route. That's the happy clapper prediction to beat so far. Let's see what Dermatron from THFC Till I Die has to say ahead of this one.
Hi guys, this is Dermot, aka Dermatron from THFC Till I Die, home in Tottenham past, present and exciting future under the greatest club in the world, Tottenham Hotspur, and this is my match day prediction for Tottenham Hotspur versus Frankfurt in the first leg of the quarter-final of the Europa League. And look, we go into it with a bit of confidence with a good win over Southampton. I think a few players will be, little bit more confident in the play. Brennan Johnson's got the start. He had an absolute stormer, got 2 goals, should have had a hat-trick, but it shows the maturity of the player that he didn't make anything about it. He just got on with it. It's all about the team and it's all about the 3 points. Going into the game on Thursday, I think Ange's got a few dilemmas. Who does he play? Does he play Kulu? I think Kulu is back. Does he start him? Does he put him on the bench? Do you start off Sonny over Odegaard? I think there's a few dilemmas there. Personally, I would go with the Odegaard, Solanke, Brennan Johnson front three. That would be my front three for the game. But look, I think it's a game we can win. We have to win this game at home. I think away at home it's going to be very difficult. The way Frankfurt are and their ground, the atmosphere and the way the fans are is going to be very intimidating. And we don't do well in the intimidating environments. But I'm going for a 3-0 Spurs win, and that's us through to the semi-finals. Come on, you Spurs.
I think we got another 3-0 from a man there. Big up to the Tron. And Dave, I think Tron needs to work on that French pronunciation of Odegaard, but I mean, he is considering dropping Sonny for this game. I know Sean Maddox mentioned that as well.
Do you know, I think most fans would be of that opinion, Jack. I think when you look at it, most people are debating who starts on the right between Brennan Johnson and Odegaard. One, because Brennan Johnson has the most amount of goals. Now, I do quickly just want to get back to Jim's point about having more goals than David Ginola. Different era.
Still on your head.
Yeah, different era. You could tug out of the jerseys. You could 2-foot players, and Ginola would have played a lot deeper than what Brennan Johnson plays nowadays and stuff like that. So, not having that one at all. But when it comes to that front line, look, the reason why the conversation around these two is, of course, Brennan Johnson has the most goals this season too at the weekend. But people forget that Odegaard scored 2 against AZ Alkmaar, to send us through to this stage. And I think, to a degree, he deserves to be rewarded. But I do just think, no matter who the manager is, they're still going to play his son, hoping he can produce that moment.
Yeah, I mean, when he is, the star of the team, or is supposed to be, it's hard to drop him. I know
Mm.
Antonio Conte went through a difficult moment with Son as well. Harry Kane, there were times when people were considering dropping him for a game or two, but just managers I know just don't do it because, when technically they're supposed to be your best players, your talisman, it's a very, very tough decision to make,
Mm.
especially ahead of big games like this one. But let us know, everybody, would you drop Sonny for this game? And then let's move swiftly on to Harry Scarf from Scarfy Spurs Talk, see what he has to say.
Yeah, guys, what is happening? So it's Frankfurt next up for Spurs, massive game, our biggest of the season to date. Fans have a right to be frustrated, especially what they've seen recently over the course of the season as well. But we have to get behind Ange and the team in this game. We have to do everything in our power, especially the ones that are going to be that 12th man. Because I think we've seen, big European night under the lights. We've seen other teams be that 12th man in. Obviously, it makes such a difference. Frankfurt, a top side. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Even though I know their recent form, I think they've lost like 3 or 4 of the last 8, etc. And I'm fully aware of that. But they're the third highest scoring in the Bundesliga. They still sit third in the Bundesliga. They're going to be really tough, and having that second leg away from home really doesn't help us. So we're going to have to go into it at the real advantage in that first leg. I think we will. I'm going to go with 2-0 Spurs, not the Spurs. Will it be enough though?
You'd hope that 2-0 would be enough, Dave. I mean, I think you can't ask for more than that. If you do get more than that, happy days. But this is the thing about European fixtures and European ties. If you get secure a 2-0 win, you got to hold on to it. You can't expect to be dropping, the lead and be dropping, the aggregate after that. And that's where a tight defense comes into it, or that's where scoring other goals in the next leg comes into it. So 2-0 should be enough. But I appreciate, what Harry Scarf did have to say about the fact that Frankfurt maybe in a little bit of bad form, still a very good team technically in terms of the grand whole season. The whole context, the whole season, they've still been a very good team.
Look, it's hard to know whether it be enough, but what I would say is I think it gives you plenty of hope and belief heading into the away leg that you can get through that tie. And I think that's the way we should be looking at it. Look, you would argue, you would always want more, but, it does give fans hope that we can hold out in the second leg. But he's absolutely right about Frankfurt. We shouldn't think this is going to be an easy tie by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. It's going to be a dogfight over the 2 legs. The way they play, the way they set up, it is usually what we struggle against, teams that sit in, block up the middle, force you to go out wide and ask the questions of you. We notoriously struggle against teams like that, and they're pretty quick and efficient on the counter-attack as well. But what I will say is, they are a lot less efficient since they have lost Mamouche to Man City,
Yeah.
which does give me a little bit of hope.
Yeah, certainly could. And let's see what our man from Spurs Kings TV then has to say about that and whether he's, nervous about this Frankfurt game. He's also recording it outside in the beautiful sun of the UK. Looks like it's some hot weather that you guys are going
Great
through. I
weather.
know Dave is having,
It's good out here.
some struggles probably because it's getting a little too hot, I imagine, for his liking.
I've
But
had to whip out the fans already. It's only April.
yeah, it's
New
only
record.
April. This is clearly Marlon though, rocking some similar fashion to I think what Dave would be though. In the sunny heat. Big up to this guy Marlon. Let's see what he has to say
Let's
to
go,
wrap
Marlon.
things up.
Dave, Jack, hope you are well. It is Marlon from Spurs Kings TV, and it's my prediction for Frankfurt. Look, I'm going to back the team this week. Whether I think they're going to do it or not is a totally different question. But I'm going to back them to win 3-0. I'm going to really, I think they can do it. I think if they go and play their game and they up it, which they're probably not going to, they've lapsed down the majority of the season. I think we could see a nice little victory. And we've got to remember Frankfurt have got a bit of an injury crisis. So, Andrew's got no excuses now. None. But we'll see what excuse he comes out with on Thursday if we do lose. But come on, you Spurs. 3-0. 3-0. It's going to be 3-0, boys. Remember, I said it first.
If only we put you first on that one. There are plenty of 3-0 predictions, Marlon. But he's right at the end of the day. The team, for the most part, is healthy. Kulusevski is just coming back, but we still have plenty of other good players to pick from for the most part. And it is about just getting the job done. No excuses, no nothing. It's the biggest game of the season. Let's see if the boys can deliver and if Ange can deliver for us.
Well, look, I think Marlon, alludes to it there about the pressure around this game in terms of the manager, but also the players as well.
Sure.
If we do go out of Europe, their whole performances this season are also going to be questioned to a large degree. So there's a lot of pressure on the squad and the manager heading into this game. Now, in a lot of times gone by when we've had this pressure, we haven't really been able to stand up to it. Hopefully we can tomorrow night, Jack. It is our biggest game of the season. And at the end of the day, I would argue the Europa League could kind of rescue the season to a large degree. Not only for Tottenham Hotspur, but also for Ange Postecoglou. Look, I still hold out a little bit of hope that we can get there to that final and we can make a good go of it. So let's go and smash Frankfurt up. Let's give ourselves a chance in the second leg and let's take it from there. Come
All
on,
right.
you Spurs.
Bis Morgan, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good rest of your evenings. Please enjoy, what you have left of it before we descend into the madness, into the chaos on Thursday evening. Join us for that pre-match build-up. Join us for that watch-along. We'd love to have you there with us to celebrate, hopefully, a good win. And till we move on into the second leg, and also check out these people's wonderful channels for making these predictions and these videos possible for us. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.